But how do we do that? There are a few different ways that we've researched that we want to share with you, and we're not necessarily going to say this is the way you should do it or this is the way you shouldn't, but we just want to share with you kind of things that we learned, some of the pros and cons of how you can mobile enable PeopleSoft applications. So the mobile options for PeopleSoft include active HTML emails, and there will be 4 of these. We'll hit them and then we'll come back and we'll review so you can remember. Active HTML emails, PeopleSoft generated mobile web pages, non-PeopleSoft mobile web pages, and platform-specific apps. So for active HTML emails, this is where a mobile email would include the data to be modified, approved or edited, and then you have links inside the email or buttons allowing you to act on the information in that email. Now that sounds like a great idea, right? Because you get it, you just act on it right then and you're done. You have less clicks, shouldn't be that difficult. And it should also work the same on a desktop. You can get the email, when you log in with PeopleSoft, just go ahead and hit the buttons. But there's some problems with that, as we've found, at least at this stage. First off, there are very few mobile platforms, meaning different phone OSs and software that actually support inline forms. And in fact, for the most part, only Windows Mobile does. For that which does work, typically the forms have to be sent as an attachment. So you're not really acting inside the email, you're opening an attachment and acting inside that attachment. That's probably going to launch into a browser, which takes away the advantage of actually doing it inside the eForm platform. And typically what we've seen is that across different mobile platforms, the user experience varies greatly, and you end up with lots of pop-up warnings and questions. Do you really want this to happen? And this is going to do that, and such forth. So you have a lot less of a fluid experience than what you saw in the demo. And support also varies across different desktop email platforms. Not all of them will allow you to use active scripting inside of the browser or inside of your email. So that also cuts out some of the usability. You also have the problem of sending sensitive data actually in the email itself. And if you want to keep that data inside the system and have people have to authenticate in order to get to it, then that can be a problem. You also have some difficulty with actually having edits if you're going to let people update things. It's difficult to actually run code that's pertinent to the business process inside that HTML email and getting the appropriate valid values there. And then you also have some limited security options. We'll go over security options a little bit later, and there are just a couple of them that will really work here. So there are some limitations to active HTML emails. There is some built-in technology in PeopleSoft, an email collaboration framework, I believe. But it's subject to these difficulties. It has possibly in the future, when we've got a little bit more support on mobile platforms, that may be a good way to go. And it may work out for you, depending on the type of mobile enterprise you have. But we did find some difficulty using that as a flexible platform for mobile applications. PeopleSoft generated mobile pages. This would be where a user gets a mobile email with a link in it. They click the link, and that opens their mobile browser to an approval page inside PeopleSoft with a simplified mobile display. They have appropriate action buttons. They hit it, and they're done. That's really what we just showed you. It's a PeopleSoft page. We've simplified it so that it will display in the majority of mobile browsers, and it works pretty well. Benefits: you don't need to have an additional web server or a development platform in order to make these pages. You just build it inside of PeopleSoft. You already have PeopleSoft skill sets in-house. You have native access to PeopleSoft data and edits because you're actually still in PeopleSoft. You don't have sensitive data going across the email because they have to authenticate using one of our security protocols to actually get to the data itself. And a little more universality should be in quotes, because there really is no universality yet across mobile platforms. But it's getting there. If you've got a newer phone platform or mobile platform, iPad, etc., it's going to work really quite well. There are lots of security options, and you can leverage PeopleSoft security if you're using the PeopleSoft platform. Some things you should think about. You want to match your security approach to your purpose. The security approach heavily impacts the user experience. If you're making your users key in with their thumbs their PeopleSoft user ID and password every time they go in there, that might be have a chilling effect on usage. So you want to keep that in mind. We'll talk about some ways to get around that. You're still working in the web, you're still in PeopleSoft tools, and that means that you do have some restriction as to how interactive your experience can be. It's still a web-based experience, and it's a simplified web-based experience. It's not a mobile application. It's hard to control the display across multiple mobile platforms. You don't know what the resolution is going to be, and so there's just not a whole lot you can do about that. You can just try to make it work for the majority. And then we found that some PeopleSoft buttons do not work on older mobile devices. You could embed some HTML in there, but that's a technical discussion. Come on and we'll talk about that. Okay, we'll move a little faster here on this. Non-PeopleSoft pages, mobile pages, this is also an option. Basically works the same way to the end user, but basically you're interacting with a page that you've stood up outside of PeopleSoft, and then that system has to interact with PeopleSoft after you're done. And the benefits here is that you have complete control of the presentation within the limits of HTML. So you're not stuck with a PeopleSoft style sheet necessarily. Of course, we'll say you can control an awful lot inside of PeopleSoft, but just using HTML, you can also leverage some of those Gen Y CS pages coming out who've got solid HTML experience and have them build this for you. And you also have the benefits of universality in the browser. You do have the issue of syncing up security with PeopleSoft. If you want to take this approach, look at the footnotes of the PowerPoint. There's a great blog post from an Oracle guy about how to do that. You need to have a supporting platform, so you may end up you're involving more servers, more platforms here, and you still have the restrictions that come with HTML. And then, of course, you've got the extra work to make sure you're integrating with PeopleSoft's valid values, edits, and updates. Okay, that's number 3. One more, and that is mobile platform-specific applications. This is, there's an app for that. What happens here is that the user runs an app on their mobile device and listens for transactions and need approval or pulls down transactions when they open it. They're notified when the transaction arrives, allows them to act on it, sends the update to PeopleSoft. The benefits here include that you've got full control over the user experience. You can actually have that interactive graphic look and feel that you can get with an application. You also have an experience that's purpose-built for the specific business need. Then you have very predictable display and user experience because you have more control over that. And the biggest downside here is do you need to build an app for each mobile platform, or you need to tell everyone to get the same type of phone. And there are institutions out there that do that. It tends to limit the use to specific business processes. It's harder to expand your portfolio and add another process because you're writing a whole new mobile app. You also have the fact that you still need to integrate with PeopleSoft somehow, and you have updates required. The user would need to reinstall the application if you need to change that application, and users have to be running the mobile application in order for it to work. Although you could still notify them with email and SMS to let them know that they need to go in there and run the app. Okay, so those are, again, just to review, your 4 mobile options. Active HTML emails, PeopleSoft-generated mobile web pages, and that's the solution that we showed you. Non-PeopleSoft mobile web pages and mobile platform-specific applications.